Welcome to Sing Scarlet. It is Shelby here with Tyler. We are here for our recording on Monday but posting on Tuesday recap episode of a awesome sports weekend. We said last week we haven't been this excited for a Texas Tech sports weekend in a hot minute, and it came through, Tyler. It more than ever. Soccer, big time road dub at Baylor, gave them their first loss of the season. Boom, we're going to talk all about that. Football thumped Utah and silenced their crowd in the fourth quarter. They were all leaving early, Tyler. Our defensive line was better than our offensive line. We'll talk all about that and what that means. Volleyball did pretty solid. They went 2-1 again, dropped their game to Ole Miss, but we'll talk about that. They had the Big 12 coming up on Wednesday. Hopefully we'll get out to that. Softball had a fall ball. We prayed. We said, please give Tyler some yaboooooms, gals. And boy, did they ever. They give him more than we've seen in any game yet. We're going to let him run through all of those updates. Plus, they got a really big recruit, maybe the best recruit in school history in softball from a high school perspective. I don't know. Rankings are weird. We'll talk about that in a second. And then I will first give you a brief tease on basketball because it's the first day of practice. I was just there today for women's basketball. Tomorrow will be the first day for men's basketball. I'll be at that as well. We're going to talk more about that in our next episode because there's just way too much fun to fit into here. We're going to save the full thing on that for Friday, but good stuff came out of the women's one today. I got to see them scrimmage a little bit. A lot of athletes on that team. A lot of reason to maybe believe they could turn the corner this year. Bailey Maupin spoke to the media afterwards. Always a pleasure when you get to hear Bailey Maupin talk about the team. Great answers to a lot of different questions. Favorite one was I asked her, can you take us through your decision to stay, or was there actually even a decision? And she said no, there was not a decision. There was no question she was going to leave. And she talks more about that. I'll have a story probably about her tomorrow on Red River Sports or today as you're watching this. But we'll talk a lot more about what I saw, some other things, and then notes from the men's basketball media availability as well on Friday. So that's your tease. But basketball is back. You know that we're excited about that. We'll talk more then. Just be excited for both teams. And Tyler, to kick it over to you because it's volleyball and soccer season right now. Y'all got some big marketing things happening. What's going on?
Yeah, we do have big marketing things going on. So first, if you're a freshman or any upperclassman that's still living in the dorms, they're doing a residence hall challenge. So the dorm that has the highest attendance between the volleyball match on Wednesday at 6 p.m. against number 20 Baylor and then the soccer match on Thursday against Houston at 7 p.m. at Fort Walker, the highest attending dorm will receive a pizza party and reserved seating to a men's non-conference basketball game of their choice. So y'all show up freshmen.
What?
And then we got some cool stuff that I'm going to show y'all right over here. So, in part of a joint effort to try to get everybody to go to all the sports this year, this is for the fans, students, whoever it may be, we're going to do a two-part giveaway. So, first, to get a throwback double T pint glass that you see on the right of your screen, you have to attend the volleyball match, as I said, at 6 o'clock p.m. at the USA against number 20 Baylor for the Big 12 Conference opener. So, you get your little pint glass. And then how are we going to keep that pint glass cold? How are you going to keep your beer cold or beverage of your choice cold? Well, you got to go to the soccer game on Thursday at 7 p.m. against
Right.
Houston, and you can get your koozie for it. So it's a two-part giveaway. You can only get one. You only get one at one game and one
That's
at the other
right.
game. You can't get both at one game. So you got to make sure that you go to both. Also at volleyball, first 250 fans get a rally towel, and at soccer, the first 200 students get free Chick-fil-A. Faith Wynn already
What?
commented. Yeah, Faith Wynn already commented. She's like, "Well, I want some Chick-fil-A." So I
Give
mean,
the gals
who knows?
Chick-fil-A.
Give the
Give the
gal some
gals.
Chick-fil-A, right? Let's give the gal some Chick-fil-A. But yes, so we have a two-part giveaway. So fans, if y'all are interested, y'all got to show up in Lubbock Wednesday and Thursday night.
And is that just for students or fans in general can get those giveaways?
Fans in general can get the giveaways.
Okay.
The only thing that's for students only is the residence hall challenge with the pizza party and then the Chick-fil-A. But fans are willing to can get these. Yes.
There we go. I mean, we're gonna clip this and post it so y'all know. But those are great giveaways. All the sports
Very
you get to
nice.
watch: Big 12 volleyball Wednesday night. Get yourself a pint glass, correct, and then Big 12 soccer. Texas Tech trying to go 2-0 and take down another undefeated team on Thursday. We'll talk about who that is in Houston, a little preview of them. But first, they already beat one undefeated team, Tyler. They beat the Baylor Bears, who were 6-0-2 on the season, only had a couple draws, but no losses. Had a win over the number 2 RPI team in the country in Mississippi State. I think they were a top 10 voted team as well. A win over Texas. They were basically their announcers during the game were joking that they should be eligible for the SEC tournament as well. All these things they were chirping. I'm kidding, the announcers were fine, but they were giving Baylor their flowers as they should. We waltz in there and we get a 1-0 big time dub. We said, however it can happen. Tyler said, hey, even if you gotta go down to the end of the game and get yourself a PK and win it that way, do that. And what did they do, Tyler? They said, Tyler, okay, we'll go in and get a PK and win it. So we'll show you a clip from Tom in a minute, but Baylor's a good soccer team. There's no fluke about their number 14 RPI ranking, in my opinion, other than it being RPI. But they're a good team, and they have good athletes, and they kind of play back on defense a little bit, and you really have to weave through them. But they don't just sit back and, like, don't attack. I mean, they came after us in the first 20 minutes, and it was a little bit scary if we didn't have someone named Faith Winning goal who saved our bacon a couple of times early, and that allowed us to settle in. We kind of took a little bit back control to end the first half a little bit. At least it was more even. We kind of had some chances. At least we had more possession. And then it sounds like there was a very spirited, is the word that Tom Stone said after the game, spirited halftime talk amongst the group. And they came out, and in the words of Faith Wynn, I don't think they stood a chance as soon as we left the locker room. I love that quote so much. She said that after the game, and you saw that. The way we came out, we were like shot after shot after shot after shot. I think we outshot them 13-5 in the second half alone, and a lot of their shots came in that last 10 minutes when they were getting desperate themselves. Seemed like at times maybe Baylor was like going to be okay with a draw, which is wild at home. I don't know, maybe that's just the way they play, but we were not okay with the draw, which I respected. Like, we trusted our defense, and we were sending people forward, trying. Peyton almost had a goal. Sam came really close to and run a play goal off the crossbar, and then Sam did a great job cutting across the field. Z did a great job to find her, and they had to foul her, or she was going to get another good look at the goal and probably make that one, because Sam's not going to miss 2 shots in that area right in a row, so she probably would have made it. They took a chance, fouled her instead, and we got the PK, and Peyton Parsons for the second game in a row nailed it. And then, of course, the magical shot of Faith, or save from Faith Wynn at the end, off of a just as magical shot from Teresa McCullough, Sam Courtwright's old travel ball teammate, by the way. They're friends, good friends from childhood. She's the one that had the great shot, and Faith makes a miraculous save you'll see in the highlights. So that's kind of my summary. Any other thoughts? I'll show the clip from Tom, and then we'll show you the highlights.
Yeah, same thing like you said. It felt like that we were starting off a little bit shaky. We were getting beat a lot of times, sometimes down low, and Baylor was able to get some shots. But then, yeah, that second half, it was like a night and day difference. We looked really good, cleaned up, and like you said, I appreciate that this team was not settling for a draw. I mean, we're looking at all of our conference opponents that we have this year, and it's like, yeah, in a sense we would have been fine if we had a draw, but getting the win is just so much better. I mean, in everything, and even when you're talking about a Big 12 title race, you got to get that win down in Waco. I mean, huge RPI win for us, honestly, against this really good Baylor team. And yeah, you got to appreciate Sam for drawing that. Thank you to Baylor's Kai Hayes. We told you that we call you out if that happens. Thank you for fouling the Sam Cartwright and then letting P go through and get that PK for us to win. And then obviously Faith. Shout out to you, just doing Faith things. That was like the save right now of the season, and I'm sure she's gonna like have 5 more that are gonna bump that up, bump that down. Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't. We're a good defensive team, right? So she doesn't always she's not under fire all the time. That's because we're a good soccer team. But man, when you need her, she steps up, and she was big, and she had some really good saves in the first half too. Just none quite as spectacular because this one was ridiculous. So, yeah, let's show you a clip from Tom Stone, and then we'll get into the highlights as well.
Really put us under the gun. They were on the front foot. They were dictating a lot of what the game had to offer. And so, although we got back into it before the end of the half, I think the halftime itself was a good turning point for us. I would just to say it was spirited would be the understatement of the year. There just wasn't enough of us, player to player. We weren't given enough to the game, and that's unacceptable, right? In any type of NCAA sport, and certainly in Big 12 openers. And I think they knew it, and so they came out and played a lot more aggressive. We were way more assertive. I thought our backline was way better at dealing with their entry passes. We disrupt that, and it was killing us in the first half. So that was a good thing. And then Story, Raleigh, Lana, Z, their press just went up a notch, and it really rattled. I don't know if it rattled, but it certainly caused turnovers. It broke up their possession game. And then the final piece, I think, for us to take over the game is our possession game started moving. And we got them to back up, and we started passing and connecting, and Macy was dangerous, and Sam at the crossbar, and, Peyton had a shot that Azul made a great save on. So there were just moments, and then once those moments started turning our way, you could feel the confidence building in our team. It felt like we were going to score. Would have preferred it to be in the run of play, but actually, we don't care. And Sam made a great slashing run, and Z had the ability with like 7 people, around the box to pick her head up and pick out Sam, and her first touch took her into the 18, and, when they fouled her, we knew we had 1 of 4 people we could pick for the PK. Peyton stepped up and buried it, and it's important. I mean, Big 12 games are not easy. No one's going to give you one. There's no one in this league that's going to give you a game, and especially on the road, and, they're undefeated, so it's their first loss, and we were certainly happy to give it to them, but it wasn't without a fight.
It was not without a fight, as you will see in these highlights.
Augustin looking.
So this is early. That's Faith making a save from the jump just about 10 minutes, 7 minutes into that game. That was her first save of the game. We had some chances. That was a good chance for Raleigh. She tried to chip it over the keeper. She got caught. Our backline defenders a few times did a great job of stealing the ball and getting it ahead to our attacking players, where we had really good chances at goal, and we just quite couldn't make the last. That would have been impressive, but she tried to chip it over her into that top corner. Would have been a really nice shot. Raleigh's very close to getting her next goal for sure. We're into the second half now. Yeah, so this is going to be a lot of our shots. That's a great pass
so
from
close.
Sam and a great shot from Peyton. I mean, the angle of that was right on goal. This is coming up. Great. Yeah. Oh, man. Kylie was great in this game, by the way. All Big 12 player. Give it to her. She was getting balls up. She was making great defensive stops. I believe this is her once again about to get the ball to Sam Courtright, open in the box, and Sam just goes right off the crossbar, if I remember correctly. Yep, there you go.
Oh, I thought we had that one.
She was trying to put it the only place she could, because Azul is a great keeper, and she would have blocked it. Anyway, you don't get to see it, but this is where we talked about Sam made a great run across, just kind of like what she just did in that last play. On this chance, Z found her, and they tackled her right outside the box. But shout out Big 12 play adding VAR for the first time ever. It's required in Big 12 play. If not, this would not have been a PK, because they originally called it right outside the box. Upon further review, it was very clear that the ball and her were right across the line, and so we got a PK. So already coming through. Ironically, we beat Baylor in the Big 12 tournament on our review of a goal as well, you'll remember. So they probably hate video assistant referee or whatever it's called. Just call it instant replay for me, or review. But anyway, they review it. We get this PK, and then Peyton does what Peyton does. Note, remember, she went to the left in our last game. Her left. And she knew that. The keeper knew that. She smartly, as soon as she saw the keeper go that way, she said that in the post game. I saw her going where I kicked it last week, and so I knew I just had to go put it away to the right side. She does. She's
so
cool
easy.
as ice. Peyton
She
Parsons
makes it look easy.
She's clutching those moments. You always remember that Peyton Parsons' first career goal as a Texas Tech Red Raider was the game-winning PK against, was it Princeton? 2 years ago,
yes.
In that year that we made the Sweet 16. So she's always been her in that way. I don't know why the scoreboard says 0-0 here. So these are out of order. But anyway, great stop by Faith on a corner. I don't know if they show the replay of that, but she came up. Yeah, now we've jumped ahead. We are up 1-0 now. I assume we're about to get to see the save of the year so far from Faith Wynn. Also, this shot from Teresa McCullough, again, is absolutely bonkers ridiculous. Look at this. Volley up to herself, out of the air, and Faith saw it the entire way. Tom Stone said after the game, that's just what makes her great. Her vision. She saw this the entire way. She didn't panic. She was there watching it, knew it was coming to her, and she just quick burst. Punch it out of there. Big stuff. And look at her teammates, don't even react because they see this shit in practice all the time. If I'm on that field, I am losing my damn mind. If Faith, and they're just like, oh yeah, Faith Wynn. That's what she does. So yeah, it was hype, y'all. One of the best saves. We'll have a clip. It might be out by the time you're watching this, where we kind of morph that all together with the players talking about it. But Faith talks about it after the game and says, I just knew I needed to do what I needed to do to win the game. I think she said at some point that, this team's had my back throughout the year. It was my turn to have their back, is what she said after the game. So we love that. Everyone did their job. We said that before. I truly believe this team has the players, the talent. When they go out there and play to their capability, like we saw in the second half, and everyone just does their job, they're better. They can win every game that they play, even against the other top teams in the conference. And you saw that happen. And hopefully they learned, like, maybe that intensity needs to be there from the jump. And they got away with that in the first 20. But I think their talent allowed them to overcome that initial 20 as well. And then they took over. But Houston's going to bring it on Thursday. So maybe in front of a massive crowd coming out to get all these freebies, that won't be a problem. And they'll take control early in that one. But we'll see. Any other thoughts before we dive in to Houston?
No, I think we just dive into Houston at this point because Houston is another undefeated team that we will have to take on in the Big 12.
L's of the year. Let's do it.
I know. That's just our duty now here in the Big 12, just to hand those L's. But yeah, Houston, they're 6-0-2. Their 2 ties are against UTSA, which y'all may hear UTSA and be like, "Oh, UTSA," but UTSA is actually a very good program. They almost beat TCU. I think TCU scored in like the 86th minute to get the win against them.
TCU for sure. TCU scored very late.
Yes, it was very close. And then they tied against SFA. And then they had a win. Their big win to start off the year was against receiving votes Texas 4-1, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay, Cook." But then we saw Texas started losing a lot of games.
4-1 though. It's still
that's
very impressive.
Very good.
Even if Texas is not having their usual year, they still have Texas-type athletes, and they went and took it to them.
That is true.
And I think they scored all those in the second half, too. Something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
3 of them, at least, in the second half.
Ooh, second half team.
They are second-half team, for sure.
And then it looks like they also beat Cincinnati 3-1. Obviously, their strength of schedule, it isn't super strong. Massey's giving them a 261 strength of schedule compared to our 71. Cool. Yeah, there's a big difference there. Massey has them ranked at 86. We're ranked at 12. They're 105 in the RPI. I think we are at number 47 right now. And then their offense is way better than their defense on paper. Their offense has 62 rating. Still not great, but it's also up there. And when I tell you some of these players, they have a lot of goals this season. Houston, they just score goals. Their defense is only ranked 106 compared to our 23. So definitely we have the upper hand on that. But some players we got to watch out for. Adalia Gonda, she has 4 goals on the season. Cameron Maddox, Samira Miner, and Savannah Talfari all have 3 goals on the season. Cameron Maddox is leading them with 15 shots on goal. She's a transfer from San Diego. And then followed by that, Adalia Gonda has 13 shots on goal, and Samira Miner have 10. Seems like that those 3 are just kind of like cooking something up over there. Got to be careful for. Cameron Maddox and Samira Miner lead with 3 assists. And then their goalkeeper, pretty good. She has 9 saves on the season, 2 shutouts, and the only 2 goals that she has let up all year was the one against Texas and the one against Cincinnati. So both against Power 4 conferences. Other than that, their goalkeeper also is pretty good. I know you were saying it's kind of like a watered down Baylor almost in a sense.
Yeah, I haven't watched them play a ton this year, but I always try to at least watch one game before a team that we play, and Houston's a lot better than what we played last year. They have a new coach. I believe he came from SFA, who was a good mid-major, which is they went and tied SFA, ironically, on the road. I think that's why they went to SFA. It was kind of like a, hey, sorry, we still your coach, so last minute, I'm going to give back to the program I was just at. We'll play y'all kind of thing, which is great. They got a draw with them. They do, and SFA did that where they were very defensive and they kind of parked the bus and they took TCU down to the wire in the postseason last year. I think it was only a 1-0 win for them in the postseason, kind of that same thing. But they also scored a ton of goals, so they do attack as well. So I don't know, maybe playing Utah State and Baylor, who are kind of similar defensive-minded teams that also are not afraid to get up and score as well, right back-to-back will be good preparation for Houston. They're way more athletic than what we've seen last year. They brought in a lot of Power 4 transfers when this coach came in as well. Honestly, a lot of them were there before they were coming in anyway. Yeah, Houston's on the rise. It's good for the Big 12. 105 is their RPI, which isn't anything crazy, but that's way higher than what it typically was in the past. We're actually up to like 30 now, by the way, Tyler. We were
Oh,
47
okay.
before the
It
Baylor
updated?
game.
Okay, cool.
We jumped like 20 spots after the Baylor game. I think we have dropped a couple now because a lot of people played on Sunday, so it reshuffles. But yeah, we're up in the almost top 30, if not top 30 now. But yeah, this one won't hurt you. Like there's sometimes you play RPI games, and it's like even if you win, it hurts you. This really shouldn't. It should just kind of status quo you. But you just take care of business at home, and yeah, they have some good athletes that are coming in confident. They have a really good coach, and yeah, just go do what we do, and you'll find your way to a win. But they're coming in feeling themselves, and that's kind of half the battle in sports. But the other half is having talent, and again, I always will say our best is better, and they just got to go play like it. So I'm excited to see them take on Houston, take down another undefeated team in front of a packed house. Be there, people. High time, high vibes, and then we'll talk about it on Friday's episode. But they finally are back to playing 2 games a week. They've been basically just 1 game for the last 3 weeks, and I bet there's a lot of players on this team that are super excited about that because this team really believes in their depth, and they think that that's what helped them against Baylor. And that hot, muggy Baylor is we were deeper than them and could take over in the second half with people like Story and all those that he mentioned. They'll be really important in the Sunday game because it'll probably be pretty hot, maybe not muggy, in Lubbock on Thursday, and then they'll have another one Sunday. But that one's away, I believe, right? So they're only home on Thursday this week, correct?
Yes, I think. Yeah, they play at Iowa State on Sunday.
Another
Yeah.
Another
Iowa
park the
State.
bus team.
Okay.
We're getting all of those in there. I hesitate to call Houston a park the bus team. It's just like I've only seen them play once or twice, but they will keep people back. But then you don't score. I think they had a game where they scored 8 goals in a game. Yeah, they beat McNeese State, but still, 8-0, and then they beat Southern 6-0. So in a span of 2 games, horrible teams, mind you, they're ranked in like the 300s, like not good teams, but they went 14-0 against these teams, like so it goes both ways. But yeah, just bring it, be who we are, and find a way to win. Like Tom said, they don't care how the goal comes. I don't really care either. I just think you have players on this team you can trust to go figure it out. I thought Sam looked a lot like Sam in this game. They were playing through her more, and maybe Houston. One final thing I have on Houston that's always interesting to me. Don't know if it matters at all, Tyler, but in Houston they play on a very small, narrow pitch because they're on a track. If you remember last year when we went there,
Oh, yes.
they don't have their own field and they play. And so I always do wonder what happens when they go on the road. I think their draws have come on the road. Is that just because away from home, or is that more because now you're on a wider field and people can attack you in that way? And I don't know. Those are things to wonder because we have a pretty big pitch. We have one of the bigger ones in the Big 12, or at least we did when it was first put out there. I don't know if everyone else is similar now, but they're not. It's very narrow because I remember when we went to Houston, that was like a talking point going into the game, how we prepare when you got to work through the middle because there's not really room to work on the outside there.
Right.
Are they prepared to play a team like us that loves the outside? How much practice do they get in that way? I'm sure they're prepared for it. It's just those are small things that are kind of quirky things that I always wonder about teams that play on those narrow fields. Then they come to Lubbock and you have to deal with Cali Bar and Macy Blackburn on the outside when you're used to practicing in such condensed spaces. But for their sake, I would assume they maybe have a practice field or something that they can use. Just something to watch. I don't know.
Yeah. I definitely think that this should be, I mean, knowing that we got that big win against Baylor, obviously I do feel really comfortable about this game in a sense. I know that Houston is going to be able to bring it, but as long as we can match the energy, feed off that really big crowd, right, guys? And also just really space out, make some creative shots. I mean, honestly, traditionally we do pretty well against Houston since then. So yeah, they may have a better team, but
they're a different Houston team. I would just say. I know Tom Stone knows that too, and the team is going to know that because they're going to know a lot of these players. There's some from TCU on this team and other places, so it's going to be a team where they recognize some of the faces, and not necessarily because they were on Houston last year, but they have some returners that are good too. So, yeah, you got to be ready for them. Just do what you do. I mean, Texas is not winning a lot of games, but 4-1 Texas. That's something to be impressed by.
That is pretty good. Yes.
So we gotta bring our A game, give them an L, and then go on the road to Iowa State. But we'll talk more about this on Friday. Gonna be here recapping a dub Friday morning, bright and early. We'll have it up for you. So That is soccer. Any final thoughts? Otherwise, we'll kick it over to you to start off football. Tyler.
Yes.
Holy
Let's
football.
kick it over to football. Oh, holy football is right. Insane win against the number 16
Good
Utah
times.
Utes. Yes,
I
very
quite enjoyed
fun
it.
early morning win. I quite enjoyed it too. Got to celebrate. Thank you for the gift, Tex Tech
Oh, yes.
football, for
Everybody
the
say
birthday
happy
win.
birthday,
Yes.
Tyler.
Thank you, thank you. We appreciate it. But football win, I was definitely really, really proud of them for that. It really got tight. I mean, it was a very close
It was a
game.
good
The
game.
entire thing up until about the fourth quarter, things started to break out for us. I will say I did call the whole situation. I said if something happens to Barron, heaven forbid, Will Hammond can come in and just beat Utah at really their own game, right? Because their quarterback was very versatile in the fact that, oh, he's underrated. He can throw this big pass when he wants to, or he can rush the ball. Well, Wheels Hammond came in and did just that, got it taken care of. Everybody was like, whoa. And I mean, I just thought it was disrespectful that the announcers half the time were like, yeah, like, they kept calling him redshirt freshman, which is true, he is a redshirt freshman, but like, did they not watch like
No,
anything
they
on him
didn't.
last year when he took over at TCU or any of his? Like, he was a highly like touted recruit out of high school. Like, I mean, there was a lot of schools like Texas and Texas A&M wanted him, 4-star out of high school, and I was just like, it was just kind of disrespectful. So now everybody's like, oh my gosh, like Texas Tech's backup quarterback is just as good as their starting quarterback. And it's like they don't even know that our third one like was literally a starter over at Wake Forest. So it's like we have depth. We bought this
That's
team and we're doing good.
But we didn't buy Will Hammond. I'm sure he's getting paid well. Don't get me wrong,
Well,
but
yeah,
he's
true, we didn't.
homegrown. He's a recruit,
Yeah,
and
homegrown.
it just cracked me up because Utah was like, "Oh, good, their quarterback's out." It's because that's their biggest excuse. I mean, oh my god, that video we made was a joke, but it went viral
Oh,
about how
so
all they did
funny.
was complain about last year. The only reason they sucked was because their quarterback got hurt. Well, our starting quarterback, who had us in the lead of this game before he went out, leaves, and then we don't just win the game, we extend the lead with our. That's what good programs do, is they have guys that come in, and Joey McGuire said Will Hammond knows his role. He understands he's the backup quarterback on this team, and he embraces it, and he was ready, and the team embraces Will, and they knew what his job is. And he says, like any other team I've ever coached, he said this team, everybody understands their role, accepts their role, and like is just happy to go out there and do their job. And that is how you win championships. And so I think that was a huge display. Like I do think Baron Morton is a starting quarterback on his team. Fans can whatever, but he's a fifth-year senior. The team
For
would
sure.
run through a wall through that guy. He wasn't playing poorly. He just wants it so bad sometimes. He gets himself injured, and I just want to be like, Baron, buddy, just slide. Like I hate it for him.
Put
But
my bubble wrap.
he's a fighter. I'm glad it doesn't sound like it was a concussion. That's what I was concerned about. They said soreness in his neck. He got cranked right on his neck on a tackle. I think it was the right move to take him out because that was the second hit. Sometimes you need to save a player from himself. I think it was good. But yeah, I do expect Baron Morton to be out there against Houston. But the future is bright with Will for sure. And he gave kudos to Morton in the press conference. He said, Baron prepare me for this moment. He's a great leader. He's always helping me, gives me tips in the QB room and practice, watching him go to work and do what he's done, all these things. He had great things to say. So while the fans are going to turn that into something, please don't. That does not help the team. It does not help the team at all. Like, support the players that are out there. Will Hammond's going to be a great quarterback for this team, but Baron Morton is the leader of this team, both from a quarterback standpoint, but like these players would literally run through a wall for this guy. And that's why he's going to be out there if he's healthy, and I hope he's healthy. But if this happens again, you're right. Will is ready to go. Once teams can prepare for him, though, that's where I think sometimes it's not always as easy as it looks when you just get thrown in there. But apparently he like grew up hating Utah as well. I think I saw some things on that.
How cool.
So he's like, it's like his family maybe BYU. I don't know. Anyway, there was some backstory there that it just kind of meant to be for him to get up there at Salt Lake City and be able to beat Utah or help beat Utah. So shout out Will for sure. He's very good. I think he had the highest PFF grade of any quarterback in the Power Four this weekend. Only in like one quarter of play.
Literally. I mean, he did 13 for 16 on his passes. It puts him at 81%, 169 yards and 2 touchdowns.
They were dangerous, but they were getting through. There was like 2 of them that could have been interceptions, but perfect.
I was scared.
Perfect. I mean, that's playing quarterback, though. He doesn't play scared. If he's not perfect there, those are picked off, but they were perfect and great catches as well. So, not afraid.
Got it right there. Yeah, and in rushing delivered, Cam Dickey, he had himself a game. I think that we put out today a video of Coach McGuire
It's
talking
not been
about.
put out yet, but maybe by the time you see
Oh,
this,
my bad. Okay.
I
By
think
this,
it's scheduled to post on Wednesday. So
okay.
keep an eye
Okay.
out. It is funny though.
Keep an eye out
We
for
cooked.
video. Yes. Yes. Shelby cooked. Yes, Shelby cooked video talking about Coach McGuire talking about Cam Dickey preseason, and then he really did have himself a pretty big game, 69 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. Shout out to Jacoby Williams. He also had himself. He was actually, yeah, he had 44 rushing yards, but he came up with like the clutchest opening drive, 73-yard catch. I mean,
I love that guy.
like, way to start that off in a sellout crowd against Utah. Reggie Virgil, he had himself 6 receptions, 72 yards, and 1 touchdown. Caleb Douglas had 4 receptions, 68 yards. Caleb Douglas, what I liked about him is he missed a like kind of a sort of wide open catch right in that like really down the field, and it was one of those catches that like really could have been a turning point for us to extend our lead out. Was a little upset. Next play, they ran the same thing again. He caught the ball, like literally the same spot, redeemed himself. So shout out to Caleb for redeeming yourself there. And then Terrence Carter Jr., Shelby, the president of his fan club, 49 yards, 7 receptions, and really had the game sealing touchdown.
Oh, it was over after that. He could have had one on the possession before, but Will just kind of threw it over the wrong shoulder to her. He was wide open twice. The touchdown he ended up scoring, they just said, we're just not going to cover Terrence Carter, which seems like a really poor decision since I'm pretty sure he does lead us in touchdowns now, or at least tied maybe with Cam Dickey, who knows, but he's up there. And you almost gave him 2 in this game, so he's just a matchup problem. I don't think he was 100% in this game because he came in on the injury report and he like kind of disappeared in this game early. He was gone for about 3 drives in a row, went to the locker room, and I was like, oh no. And then he came back in. Our offense definitely looks different. So a lot of people are like getting on Morton, but there was a period in there where Terrence Carter was not on the field, and this team really does look different when he is or isn't on the field because he is such a matchup problem. They have to move people over on him, and then that leaves other guys open, or they just for some reason don't cover him, and then he's wide open because he'll just run up the seam like he does. So I do think that was a little bit of that dead period between like mid first quarter to mid second quarter where we couldn't really do much offensively or kept stalling. He was not in there, and I think that is bigger. I mean, the turnovers we had didn't help in that run, but he also wasn't there to make it a little more seamless. So bye week comes at a good time for him for sure, because I think it's just the stinger is what they're saying, and with a week off that should really help him. But tried to warn y'all. I think there's a lot of people that want to join. I'm calling it the boardroom because I joke that I'm the president, CEO, secretary, so it's a boardroom. It's the fan club's name. If anyone would like to join the boardroom, come on over. But yeah, he's fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I think he also had he had a really big like block, like I think in the game too. They were talking about him. Yes, very, very good blocker, and that's what you love to have out there to help you whenever we are trying to go through our run game. Other shout outs, Stone Harrington, career long 58-yard field goal. And what was so funny about this
Joe
was that
KLATT.
announcer, yep, Joe KLATT, was like, oh, if I were Utah, I would have somebody back there in the end zone to run it back because this guy's not going to make it. Like, I really don't think he's going to make it. Stone Harrington nails it. Nails
It's
it
always
right there.
hilarious. That is the difference between. That is why local media that covers teams is so important. And the best national media broadcasts are the ones that talk to them. And it was so apparent on not just the Will Hammond thing you talked about earlier, them like not knowing who he was and being like, who is this little white ginger guy that's going crazy? I'm like, he's like the highest recruit in school history, or quarterback recruit in school history at the time. Anyway, but Stone Harrington, I mean, anybody that's been at practice has seen Stone Harrington murdering 50-plus yard field goals since he arrived. Anybody that's been at media availability has heard unprompted Joey McGuire multiple times bring up Stone Harrington as a surprise performer in camp. When a head coach brings up a kicker unprompted, it means something. And there's been a kicking battle going on between him and I'm blanking on his name right now, but he was like, I think he was like came into the season expected to be the guy. He's on the kicker of the year watch list thing. That's not Stone. That's our other kicker. And then Stone came in and has just kind of done the thing. Now he's more of the long bomb guy. The other one's maybe a little bit more consistent on the short stuff. So maybe they'll just keep going back and forth. But You could see he had the leg early because the first opening kickoff of the game, I noticed it, and I said, Stone is feeling hype today because opening kickoff, he sent it not just into the end zone, out of the end zone, altitude or whatever, but I don't think Salt Lake's that much higher than Lubbock. Like, that's a little bit overblown. Like, BYU's a little bit higher, but where Salt Lake is, I think it's maybe 1,000 feet. It's not much higher than Lubbock, but he boomed it out of the end zone. So, yeah, Lubbock's the third highest elevation school in the Big 12.
How interesting. I knew that, but yeah, it's really
so
cool.
It might be higher than Utah. It's higher than one of those schools in the West. But anyway, yeah, so that was hype. Joe KLATT hates Texas Tech. Here's your fun anecdote on him. We all make tweets that we regret, but I don't know if he was friends with Matt Wells or what, but you can go find a tweet from Joe KLATT from the day we fired Matt Wells mid-season. And he like went on this rant on Twitter about how, like, does Texas Tech even care about football? How could you make this move in the middle of the season? He's like, because we had like a winning record when we did it. We just got murdered by Texas. And he's like, you've only lost 1 game or 2 games on the year. How are you getting rid of your coach mid-year? Do you even care about the players? And it was this long tweet, and everyone's like, have you watched any of our games? Like, it's time to move on. Like, it's just time. And now
are you watching K-State right now?
Yeah.
What? Who said that?
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if they're friends or whatever. Matt Wells is a great guy. It's just like, no, not a football coach for here. And it was time to move on, but he was really upset about it. And he went on this rant, and now he did this. So that tweet was resurfacing on Saturday too. Like, man, this guy threw with the coldest takes ever about Texas Tech. One in game in this. So I love sports. I love sports stories like that. He was getting it. So yeah, I mean, big time football. Defensive line was better than their highly touted offensive line from the jump. We were just
D-line of the week. Big 12 D-line of the week.
D-line should be national D-line. I mean, we're number 1 in rushing defense coming in. We held the number 4 rushing offense in the country. They came in averaging like almost 300 freaking yards a game, basically. We held them to 101 total. We held their leading rusher, their quarterback, to 27. They're now coming out and saying he was injured, but whatever. I don't even care.
Right.
He couldn't even throw the ball downfield because he was so terrified of these rushers. He was missing wide open receivers. And if I'm here to nitpick anything, is like we did leave some dudes wide open a couple of times. And like against a better quarterback, even against Houston when we play them in 2 weeks, they have a transfer from A&M as their quarterback. He's going to hit those. So that is definitely clean it up. But on the same token, I also kind of think that was our game plan. Is like, we don't believe this guy can throw the ball downfield against our pass rush. We've seen his tape from New Mexico. It's cute that he's been doing this at Utah the first couple of weeks against nobody. But we've seen his tape at New Mexico. He had as many interceptions as he did touchdowns there. I think that might have been like, we believe our best is better, like we said with soccer, and that we're going to get pressure on him. And when we say bet, make those throws. And he just couldn't more times than not. But I do think there's some things we have to clean up, but I'm not going to nitpick too much, other than the penalties were absurd. That can't happen. I don't think we prepared a silent count, which I think is like egregious. Like, I love Joey McGuire, but I don't understand that at all. But he took full ownership of it after the game, and I respect anybody that takes ownership of it. I don't understand why we would go into that environment. I know we all talk a lot of shit about it, but Utah's fans are awesome. That was very loud. It was a great environment for 10 a.m. there as well. It was like an NFL level loud, and we couldn't hear each other, and we didn't prepare a silent count, and we got out of there with over 100 penalty yards and won by like 3 touchdowns. Imagine how good
impressive.
This team could be if you just work on that stuff. And I don't know what the worst environment we'll play in. Maybe Arizona State. Nothing's going to be like Utah. But I bet we'll have a snap count figured out moving forward, or a silent count figured out, because we couldn't hear our clapping happening on it. And I was like, we have to have a silent count, surely. And I just don't think we had one prepared, which is wild to me. So, but they took ownership of it. Respect that, learned our lesson, got out of there with a win anyway. But those are the 2 things got to clean up, is like, 1 too many wide open receivers that should have been hit, and I think the game's a little closer if they hit those. And then who knows what happens momentum wise being on the road. With your backup quarterback, you put a little more pressure on Will Hammond because he doesn't have such a big lead. Who knows? I think we still win, but who knows? Clean it up before Houston. Great. I think our bye week came at a great time, personally.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it was a time for us to really get healthy this week and to kind of, work on things kind of like, the whole the whole false start thing. That was a little bit much, but we got figured out. And
Wild.
also, our defense almost kept the streak alive of not allowing a point in the first quarter. But then, stupid penalties, we decided to rough the kicker, or whatever they were going to call that
Which,
call,
upon
and then they let them
replay,
get a field goal.
kind of a phantom call,
Yeah,
but
it
I guess
was.
you don't need to
It
be
was.
in the area, so I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I
Whatever.
know, but we almost kept our streak. But still, we've only allowed 3 points in the first half of games the entire year.
Is this
That's
Texas
still
Tech?
really
Like,
impressive.
what is going
Yeah, what
on?
is this? I
Like,
know.
people, I get why people nitpick our offense because that's what we're so used to. We're used to scoring, and I mean, when does that happen though? It's been years since even that's been happening. But whatever. But people grew up as Texas Tech fans, like 60 points a game and back and forth and putting up all these. I literally in this game just kept saying, I don't care what the offense is doing except for stop turning the ball over. As long as this offense doesn't turn the ball over and controls field position the way that they do, our punter, Jack Burgess, Heisman, great. He's a
Oh my
weapon.
gosh.
You
Beautiful
combine
punt.
him with our offense as long as they move it enough, pin people, this defense is going to do their job. The offense just needs to get out of their way. Like, I know that's wild to say, and I think we have a very good offensive, like, potential, too, when they need to. But a lot of games, I mean, like they did, start off really strong, go get a touchdown, and then just control the game from there, And then
For sure.
finish them in the fourth quarter. So I don't think the script was too bad. Just clean up the penalties, stop turning it over. We had, was it 2 turnovers in this? 3 turnovers, and then over
Yeah.
100 penalty yards? Like, that's not going to work usually, but that defense, they bailed you out because they're just that good. So it's wild to watch. It's big time stuff. And I think we maybe about to get another big recruit for football as well. And as they've said, is it's funny watching this team is like it's not even the talent that'll be on this team in the next 3-4 years is 10 times better than what we're even seeing out there right now. If they live up to their potential now, it's all high school recruits, but it's pretty crazy where we are. So there's football. We'll be back on Friday to preview. Wait, no, we won't. They don't play this week. So we won't talk about football again until next week. I don't know what we'll do. We'll talk to you at some point. Maybe we'll throw in some notes on Monday's episode, even though it was a bye week. But softball, Tyler. Give them your fall ball
Yes.
recap, because I did Tuesday's game last week. You were at the Thursday game, and we haven't talked to y'all since then, since we recorded early last week. So lots of yabooms in that one.
Yes, lots of yabooms. We told the team that, hey, I'm going to this Thursday scrimmage, and I need to see some yabooms. And the team delivered. I mean, and everybody on the red team, everybody all got a hit other than Nicolette Schmidt, who ended up getting a walk. So everybody got on base. So that's the big thing. Logan Holloman had 2 hits. She started off 2 for 2 in that game. Lagi
Logan.
Quiroga had 2 hits, and her first hit was a double that brought in a run. She had a double RBI. Haley Tony had a hit. Mia Williams had 2 hits, and she actually opened up the drive on a homer, a Mia Williams homer. She started the Yaboom party. Shout out to Mia for that. That was super huge. Everyone was going crazy. And then I really think that, I mean, it's between these two who are back to back in the lineup, but Taylor Panel, she got a double, and then she went 3 for 4 on the night, and then she had a home run that brought in an RBI. But then I gotta give all the flowers to Alana Johnson because she had a double and got 3. I had a 3 RBI in that so off of that double. 3 RBI off of that double. Really like brought that score way up. I think it was like in the 3rd inning or something like that, or 2nd inning. I mean, insane. She goes on and hits a grand slam home run
7 RBI.
way
7 RBI in a
way
game.
out.
It's pretty chill.
Yes. Yeah, pretty chill, right? Pretty chill. Way over. It was like up the middle, way over. I was like, go Alana. I think that honestly was the coolest part of the night was to watch her get that grand slam. Des had a hit herself. As I said, Nicolette Schmidt had a hit. Both Sam and KT had 2 strikeouts each on that, and then Logan stole a base in first, or she stole 2 bases in the first inning. And then for the team, and then
What a
for the
menace.
black team, no, literally, she was just really good. And then for the black team, you want to talk about stolen bases while we're at it on this topic. The black team was going crazy. They were stealing bases. Yeah, they didn't win, but they were winning the stolen base battle. Lauren Allred stole a base in the first inning. Michaela Garcia stole a base in the 4th inning. Maya Davis stole 3 bases in the 5th inning. Don't ask me. She tried to steal home on one of them, but then they sent
Oh.
her back. But She literally like
Was
she
she
was like,
safe?
oh, she was second to third. No, she wasn't safe. She was out.
Oh,
But then they made her go back to third, and then she went back and did her thing. But yeah, she had three in the fifth inning. Jackie Liss had one in the fifth inning, the stolen base as well. So they were going crazy on that end of things. Maya Davis had a hit. Jackie Liss had a hit. Lauren Allred, she didn't get a hit, but they walked her twice. So Lauren Allred finds a way to get on base, as we say. She went 2 for 3 then. Jazzy Burns had a hit. Michaela Garcia had a walk. Caitlin Terry had a hit in this. Angelina Condi just had a little bit of a struggle at the plate, went 0 for 2 in that. Simone Edge was the
okay,
was the only
freshman.
homer for the black team. Everybody was going hype for Simone. I think this was her first homer of the entire fall ball scrimmage series. Absolutely hype. And then Des had 2 strikeouts when she came in to close out the game for the black team. And then I did do timing because, we have that new recruit or commit that we were talking about that
Oh
just brought
yeah,
on. And we were like, all right, can she's what, at a 2.67, you said, right? Or
6'8".
2.65? 6'8", something like that. So I was like, all right, how much faster is Logan and Maya? Both Logan and Maya, which is pretty cool. My friends and I both had both stopwatches going, and they both ran at a 2.56, both Logan and Maya. So she's about, what, like a tenth of a
I
second,
mean, in
13th of a
track,
second off?
that's a lot. So like speed wise, but still, like it's
Yes,
not. She's probably. I mean,
pretty
she's pretty
close.
fast. Probably
She's
in the
gonna get there.
Lauren
Yes.
Allred range if you time her probably. And
Yes.
I don't know if I heard you, but didn't Taylor Panel have a home run too?
Oh yeah, yes. Taylor Panel had the home run that brought in the RBI, and she was the one that went 3 for 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I remember you saying that. So, yeah, a lot
Yes.
of and people are like, who are they hitting these off of? Like, I think most of them came off of maybe Sam and Chloe or Des, and then but one
Yes.
did come off KT. Like they're and then KT shut them down after that. So good hitters. You got all Americans out there. It's a battle of good. So, speaking of which, I don't know if it's because they're tired of playing each other or they're tired of having people in the stands. I don't know, but they did cancel all their Sunday scrimmages. But the key there is scrimmages because they do have real games coming up on Sundays in the
Yes.
future. So those are still happening. Someone messaged and freaked out, and I've not been told they've been canceled. I don't know why they would cancel the homecoming game. So pretty sure the October 12th Sunday game, that's key, that's an actual game against another opponent, Odessa, is still happening, and then they're going to Canyon to play West Texas A&M, and a lot of people have already bought tickets for that, and we're all like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, that's a real game, and so it's not canceled. They're still doing that. So they really only got rid of like a few, because there's only a few scrimmages mixed in that weren't games, and I do believe they're doing camps right now as well on the weekends, so that's probably a part of the reason they decided, like, hey, we're just asking too much of these people, like you don't want to make them do camps and all that. So you've missed your chance to watch them on a Sunday outside of real games that are coming up, but they should be still Tuesday and Thursday nights, weather pending, this week at 7 p.m. to go check them out. If you can get to any of those, go do it. You might see some yabooms. We had like one all of last fall ball, and we're up to like 8 or something now, if not more.
Yeah, insane.
So the difference is stark. And you have 2 good pitchers too mixed in there in Nyjah and KT, so they're doing the damn thing. Good for them. Forgot to mention it, but softball got another commit, a big one. We've talked about it online a lot, and we're going to do a full video for her actually sometime this week, hopefully. Reach out to her. She's open to kind of like talking about how she ended up here and kind of her commitment story and why she picked tech. So we figured we'd wait until we heard from her on that so we can include that in her video, because again, why would you want to hear from us when you can hear from the athlete directly? I don't think she'll be on the show. I don't know that we usually don't get high school recruits on the show, but I'll have quotes from her and a story on that. But she's a big one. Again, I think she might be, per Softball America, the highest recruit we've ever had. But that's a little bit of a Softball America's rankings only go back so far, especially since they've moved carriers. I think they only go back like 3 years. So it's kind of hard to really go back too far. But she is number 13 in the entire country, number 3 catcher in the country per Softball America by Perfect Game Softball, which obviously we're big fans of. She's number 4 in the country by their metrics and the second best catcher in the country. So yeah, she's from California. We've talked about before, if you want to get softball players, get them from California. She had been on visits to Ole Miss and OU and Texas as well, and then Texas Tech, we were kind of in her top 4, and on that visit she was there at the Tuesday night game I was at. I just didn't bring it up because I don't like to bring up things unless I know that I'm supposed to mention that they're on a visit. But she was there, and I'll just say it. She is a physical presence and does not look like a high school junior because like multiple people came up
Oh,
to me at that game and were like, "Who is that?" And I was like, it's a recruit, but like it's not. She hasn't. I don't know if she wants it out there, so I don't want to share. But she's a really good player. But there's going to be a lot of those coming in and out. Keep your eyes peeled. But apparently, a lot of people sat next to her and talked to her family at that game because they were all sharing that in her comments after she committed, and they all love her. Really big in her faith. All those things. Seems like a good egg. We'll talk more about her moving forward, but she's a really good athletic catcher, like a true catcher, but has power as well. She's going to be a fun player. Class of 2027, so this is down the line. I mean, you'll still have like Haley Tony and Sam Lincoln as seniors, perhaps. Yeah, that would be their senior year when she's a freshman. But it's after all the catchers that you have now are gone, so she's kind of next in line for that. So a big get. Hopefully they have more coming as the recruiting cycle goes, but as we know, they'll bring in some people in the portal to join them as well. But that's a nice get paired with Skylar, who they got last week, and we'll see who else is to come.
yeah, super excited. Welcome to the family, Holland. We're so excited that you're here, and thank you for choosing us over all of our rival schools.
Yeah, I love that. She made a good choice for sure. Like we said, new nachos, not old nachos. Don't reheat them. She chose not to reheat
Right.
those nachos, unlike other people. So now, as far as I'm concerned, she's the best catcher in the country.
Yep, she
That's
is.
how that works. That's how
Yep.
that math works. She's number one in the country in my eyes. No. Yeah, we'll talk more about her at some point. We'll have a video on her. A story will be out on her on Riveter Sports as well. But go welcome her to the family if you haven't.
Yes, go softball.
Volleyball also went on. We said at the beginning of the show they went 2-1 again, so it's 3 weekends in a row. They went 2-1. They were finally home this week, so you got to watch their games. I watched I think 2 of the 3 I got to watch. They got it done. They're a team that they don't freak out. I like that about them. They don't like get upset when they're down. I think they reverse sweep their last game. We'll let Tyler read off stats, but they don't quit. And I know we're trying to find something to like. It's not as exciting as some of these other things, but that's just where this program is in their development and on their journey. And that's just kind of what you got to look for. Is they're very young. I will say that Reagan Engler, who is their star, if you will, their leader of the team, did get injured in the first match of this. And so that probably did affect losing to Ole Miss later that night. If she could play, who knows how that goes. So I want to give them benefit of the doubt there. That probably did affect on Sunday, not having her as well, having to go to 5 sets. There's all those things in play. Sounds like they don't expect her to be out for very long. We'll see if she's playing on Wednesday in the first Big 12 match. But I do think it allowed some young players to get even more time. And I saw some good stuff from Joshivia Rava, Callie, from France. She got to come in there. I've talked about her before on the show. When she hits it, she's a hitter. She can really strike the ball, and she's fun to watch. And then Addie Knuff had another good match that first game. And then I thought Ashlyn Bellamy showed some good things. She's an outside hitter that came over from Houston in the off season. So, I don't know. You read off the stats, but some better things. Looked a little bit like, oh, there was good to be home. Just can't quite find a way to beat some of these power conference teams, and the Big 12 is going to get really hard. But we'll see if maybe they can get Reagan back and keep growing as they go. As Tony said on our show, hang with them is what he said, that they'll look a lot better at the end of the year than they do now. It's just like, how long will that take for those kind of puzzle pieces to sync and fit together? And we'll just see. We'll keep covering them as we go. But yeah, what do you see, stat leaders and all that?
Yeah, so we beat Albany 3-1. We actually really had to fight hard in that fourth set to put them away, but we did. Addie had 16 kills. Callie had 14. Callie, she really broke out in this game. And keep in mind, Callie had 14 kills and only just like 3 sets played compared to Reagan, who whenever she was playing, or no, compared to Addie, who played 4 sets and had 16 kills. Callie only played 3 sets and had 14. So the future is bright there over there with Callie. Ashlyn Bellamy had 12 kills as well. Ashlyn Bellamy led the team in aces with 3. Leah McDonald, as always, leads in blocks, along with Addie, who tied with her. And then Shelby Ignash had 2 blocks as well in that. Great name. Casey had 52 assists. Sierra had 24 digs. And then we went over into the Ole Miss match. We lost that 1-3. Again, team was probably rattled up after the Reagan Engler thing. They were showing some life, honestly, in that fourth set. I really thought they were going to push it to possibly 5, but they just weren't able to get it done. They were making a miraculous comeback. I think it was like 17 to like 21, and then we got to like 21 to like maybe 24 or something like that. But then Ole Miss ended up finishing it out, so our comeback fell just short. Then we go and we reverse sweep UIW on Saturday. So while the football game was going on, I saw they had the football game playing during the breaks at the volleyball match. But we ended up reverse
Smart.
sweeping UIW. Yes, very smart. Kept the fans entertained, especially
Might have
after
gone
it
there
started,
if I knew they were going to
started
do
slow.
that. Should have advertised that
No,
better.
for real. But yeah, they started off 0-2, but then they came back. In UIW, they were a team that's really played the gauntlet of the Big 12. Took on BYU and Arizona State, and who are all very highly ranked right now in the Big 12. So they kind of had a feeling of how Big 12 volleyball works. Almost got it off of us, but we fought back. Ashton Bellamy led with 23 kills. Callie had 18 kills, and then Addie Knuff had 12. Peyton Dunn led us in aces with 3. Casey had 2, and Callie had 2. Tatum Johnson led us in blocks with 4. Shout out to Tatum. I know Tatum's family was sliding up on Raider Riot Story. They were really excited to see her on our graphic thing today. So shout out to
Aw,
Tatum
love that.
and her fam. Yes. Casey had 27 assists and Peyton had 26 assists. And then Diggs, Callie led with 21. Sierra had 20. And then Ashlyn had 20. So really good for them to pick it up against UIW. And then, yeah, I will say for Wednesday's match against Baylor, guys, I know big bad Baylor number 20. Tony Greystone's teams tend to actually play really, really well against Baylor. It's equivalent of how Coach Gerlich, it doesn't matter where we're at in the Big 12 standings, Coach Gerlich is going to try to put out the best performance for women's basketball against UT, and we saw that those games can get pretty close. That's Tony Greystone and Baylor. For some reason, Baylor always struggles against Texas Tech volleyball. Last year, we took them, I think, to like 4 or 5 sets. We ended up dropping that one, but in the past 2 years, we've gotten the ranked win down in Waco or at home. So y'all be there. Y'all support the team. 6 o'clock Wednesday. Number 20 Baylor. If we get that win, that's a really great way to start conference play. We did start a season opener 2 years ago against Kansas, and they were ranked, and we won. So there's a good history there running with either against Baylor or
sweeped 'em.
Season opener.
We-
Yeah,
We
let's do
reverse
it.
sweeped ranked Kansas, so even if they get down in this, don't give up on them. You never
Don't
know what
give
can
up.
happen. Stick
Don't
behind
give up.
them. Give them the good vibes. I'm going to try to be there unless something happens. I'm going to be there, get some pictures on Wednesday, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, always fun to play a ranked team. Start off Big 12 play, keep fighting. Hopefully Reagan Angler can get back. But if not, I do think it allowed some really talented athletes to get out there and do what they do. So we'll see how it goes.
Let's do it.
And that's all we got this week, Tyler. So one last time, go to volleyball on Wednesday for number 20 Baylor at 6 p.m. Get you a pint glass, correct?
Yes.
Let's go on that. Then go to soccer on Thursday, taking on undefeated Houston. We can go ahead and get a win over Houston. Start Houston Hate Week early. Who says you can't do it this week, y'all? And then just carry it on into the other football next week. Get your koozie and free Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
I mean, there are lots of stuff going on. And then the battles of the student housing, all the things going on that Tali talked about at the beginning. Do that. No football this weekend. Maybe catch a fall ball game if you're in town. Otherwise, we'll see you back Friday morning to recap soccer, a dub, and talk about whatever else happened this week, as well as preview soccer's Sunday game and give you a little bit more notes on the first week of practice on the men's basketball and women's basketball side. Any thoughts, Tyler, before we get out of here?
Be there this weekend or this week. Be there this week.
Don't
That's all I got.
make Tyler mad.
Yeah.
He
don't
told
let
you
us down.
exactly what was going to happen in like every sport last week. Repay the
I
favor.
literally did. I know.
By going out to these games and helping out his marketing team, but most of all, helping out these teams get some dubs.
Let's do it.
All right, go team. As always, wreck 'em.
Wreck 'em.